I'm Suzanne from Perth Succulent Bowls. Today I thought I'd show you how I'm going to design one of our new urban concrete range Rio planters. So let's go through the tools to design a pot like this. Secateurs, commonly used to take off some of the branches or to prune back the stem as you need so you can get the heights right in your bowl. Trusty trowel for moving around your soil and adding and subtracting soil as you need it. Chopstick, perfect for levering plant leaves. Always use chopsticks rather than your fingers. You'll notice that when I design, I can be very rough with the roots of succulent plants, but I'm always very gentle with the leaves. That's because once you damage a leaf, whether you snap it or bruise it, it's going to be permanently damaged. So you want to treat these with lots of love. Paintbrush, always good to clean down your leaves and clean down the bowl and your work area as you're working. Carving knife, just in case you need to trim back any roots, or if you've got any succulents that are nearly root bound in their pots, it's a great way to cut off the roots that are too hard to get to with your secateurs. So to start with, I've already lined my Rio planter with some fly screen, which I just bought from my local hardware store. This will stop the soil from draining through when you wash the bowl. It's also a good idea to make sure that the bowl has a really nice wide drainage hole. Succulents love free draining soil, so it will reduce the risk of overwatering if you're guaranteed that all the water's going to drain out with lots of ease. I've also filled up the bowl already halfway with soil. So the best way to tell how much soil you need in the bowl is to just slowly start adding soil to it, and then pick your largest pot and just sit it gently down in there and lean down to see if you've got your heights right. It seems like a waste to buy this pot from the nursery and then start ripping all of the soil away to use your soil. So today we're going to be using a formula or some guidelines to create this succulent bowl. It's comprised of three simple words: your thriller plant, your filler plants, and your spiller plants. So we always start with the thriller plant. The thriller plant is generally the plant that's dramatically different. It's the tall point, it's the centerpiece. It's quite often, I like to use an aloe. It's got texture and it's nice and spiky. The important thing with the thriller plants is that you want them to look as good when you're viewing them from this angle as you do from looking them at that angle. So I wouldn't use an Echeveria, for example, as my thriller plant. An Echeveria looks great from this angle, but it looks amazing from this angle. So the Echeverias I tend to always use as my filler plants because I can angle them out to face the viewers. So I gently give the pot a bit of a squeeze. I'll always put my two fingers just on the roots, on the top of the root ball, and gently pry out the plant from the pot. Now for placement of your first thriller plant, I tend to go center and then I'll just lever it just off center a little bit. So from here, I might just, using my hands, pull away a little bit of the soil so that I can get my next plant in nice and close to it and nudge it up to the edge. This is a beautiful Aeonium purpurea. The nice, soft, flat leaves will contrast nicely with the texture of the aloe, and it's also a nice change in colour. This is going to start becoming the filler plants. So the role of the filler plants is to blend this high point down to the edge of the pot, and then you'll make your way for your spillers, which will cascade over. Again, I'll just give the base a bit of a squeeze, put my fingers where they need to go, and gently ply the plant out. I think this side is the side that looks the best. So what I'm going to do is try and bank it up as closely as I can to my aloe whilst making it graduate down the bowl. Otherwise it's going to be too tall and I'm going to have to cut some of the roots off. So I'm just pulling away a bit of the soil here. Some of these leaves at the back are actually getting in the way. So I'm just going to remove them. So it will sit alongside nicely and naturally next to the aloe. So it's probably good now just to talk a little bit about texture. I quite often try to change my bowls up using different colour combinations to keep them nice and bright and vibrant. If I don't have the opportunity or I don't have a lot of colour to change my plants using colour, I'll do it using texture. This is a Crassula medusa, one of my favourite plants. It's got that beautiful, soft, fluffy look about it. It moves in the wind. It goes really lovely next to that harsh, striky or architectural appearance of the aloe. And I will nudge that just in alongside, nice and tight. So I'm actually making a little bit of a triangle, a centerpiece triangle, because my bowl's large enough. I'm then going to have room to work my way around the edges. And I'll just squash that and move it where I need the plant's leaves to go. Being very gently with the other leaves of the plants. I'll just sidle this one in alongside it. And then I'll just add some soil underneath the roots to get it to the right height that I need it to be for this composition. Now I think it's time to get a little bit of colour happening in the bowl to start making it pop and stand out. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. We can go with a complementary colour scheme, which is where you find opposite colours on the colour wheel and pair them together, and they're going to have a really nice look to the naked eye. So on the colour wheel we've got purple and yellow. They sit opposite each other and those colours will just bounce really nicely off each other. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to introduce this beautiful fluffy sedum gold mound. Now a good tip is if you need to get a plant that's longer to fit to where your bowl is, but you have a plant that's not quite the width or the length that you need, I'll quite often get my knife, cut down the middle of the plant to open it up and spread it out. I should then be able to gently sidle this succulent alongside the Aeonium purpurea. The colours look beautiful and it looks like it's just sitting in there naturally. So now against this yellow, let's have a look. Let's go back to some more purple, just because we know that the colours work. It's got a nice texture and it sits nicely with the Crassula medusa. Now one of the tips with design is, if you've got little plants, always group them in pairs of 3. Odd numbers seem to look much nicer to the human eye. So with your filler plants, you can actually put them on an angle so that they're facing the viewers, so that you have it, the bowl has a nice even angled shape to it, so that it doesn't matter where you're sitting at the dining table, for example. Everyone sitting around the table has got a beautiful view of the bowl and all the plants are facing each individual person. That looks pretty good. This is the sedum variegatum, the beautiful creamy leaves that are variegated with some nice light green. The green is being picked up through the aloes and it's getting picked up in the sedum here. That's going to sit really nicely. So what we might do is introduce our spiller plants. So what the spiller plants do is they're going to get nestled right along the rim of the bowl, and it's just going to finish the bowl off to give it an absolute feel of opulence and abundance, and it will give it the feeling that it's overflowing with plants. By restricting the root balls in the succulent bowl and by absolutely packing a bowl out with plants, it's going to slow down the growth rate of the plants, keeping them in the bowl for longer. So I'm going to squash the root ball to the size of the hole that I have in front of me so that it will fit. Gently, can either use my chopsticks, lever up this aloe again, and the sedum, it should really just fall into place. You don't want to be prying and pushing your plants, because what will happen is you'll damage the leaves. Then using the chopsticks, you can just give it a nudge here and there, push it back a little bit, and really that just looks like it's fallen into place effortlessly. So now what we've got left is some Senecios, some dwarf chalk sticks, and it's a matter of now just playing around with the design and having a look to where you'd like them to sit. They've got a different texture to the sedums. The colours, you know, a little bit similar. They've got a different texture also to the Aeoniums, and they've got a different texture, and they're really going to stand out. So I'm just going to fill up my soil a little bit here. It's looking a little bit low. And then what colours go really well together? They're opposite each other on the colour wheel, blue and orange. So I'm just going to put in some Sedum Adelphis just to contrast really nicely with the blue chalk sticks. I'll give it a quick clean down. So to finish off the bowl, we're going to apply a top dressing. This is a basalt stone. By top dressing the bowl, it's like adding mulch to any garden bed or icing on top of the cake. It will make the bowl look better. It will hide the dirty soil that will be coming through, and it will also keep the water from sitting on the bottom of the succulent's leaves. So it will reduce the chances of them getting leaf rot. So to do that, it's as simple as you just want to gently lift up the succulents and just lever it in. And really, there you have it, a finished succulent bowl. Thanks so much for watching my small movie today. If you'd like more information on succulent design or services that we offer, feel free to visit my website www.perthsucculentbowls.com.au. Otherwise, have a go at making one at home your own. You don't have to follow my rules. Just find good quality plants that you love, play around with your colour combinations and your plant combinations and enjoy them. Thanks so much. Bye.